Lemon Amiga present a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Welcome to a 9K sub special backed by Johnny Smoesau. This is Firepower, developed by Psycon and published by Micro Illusions in 1988. On the options you can see that we can play versus an opponent, versus the computer, or even someone on a serial modem cable. I'm not quite sure if this works on a null modem cable, but I think you need an actual modem from back in the day to use it. By pushing back and forwards we can select the options, and we'll just select the computer for this one. You can see that this was produced by Silent Software and created by Reichardt von Wolfschild. That's a fantastic name. And you get 3 tanks, and so you can see 3 tanks on offer, and they've got various speed and lives and damage, but I'm going to go for the heavy tank, and the heavy tank is, well, quite slow, but it does give us some good damage, so let's just go for this Scorpion for now. Start of the game we'll find ourselves in a friendly base. We are the tank at the bottom of the screen in brown, and the enemy is in green. So if you see the enemy helicopter flying around, if we hang around for more than a few seconds, the enemy helicopter will try to stop us. So you can see, well, on the instrument panel we've got 4 lives at the moment, and we're rescuing guys that have been blown up, and you can see one of the guys has got stuck, and I think if you rescue more than a number of guys we actually get extra lives. So one of the tips that I almost put into the tips and Easter egg special is you're supposed to blow up your own base from the start of it, capture all those guards, send them in, and I think you get extra lives for doing that by sending them into the first aid tent, which is on every base. And you can see that we have found a road, and roads are mines, so it's a good idea to avoid the mines because you can blow up on a mine very easily in this game and wreck a life straight away. In Firepower we can more or less blow up everything and anything, including these trees, and so by blowing our way into things we can make some progress in the game. We have a basic radar, which in this case shows us only where the helicopter is flying around, and we have a limited heads up when we can see what's in front of us. And you can see the enemies can only fire at a 45-degree angle. Luckily we don't have that limitation, so we can blow up all of the enemy's sentry guns pretty easily. There are 2 maps in the game. There is an easy map and a hard map, and in basically single player mode that we're on at the moment, we're playing the easy map first of all, and then if we complete this we'll move on to the hard map, or if we die we'll also move on to the hard map. And I don't think that it is even possible, or maybe it selects it at random, I don't think it's possible to go back to the easy map once you've moved on from there. But there are definitely 2 maps in the game, and you can't blow up mines unfortunately, but they will blow us up, and those look like TIE fighters wherever they are on the ground. You'll just have to avoid them as much as possible. Around the enemy base you'll see various bunkers that we can blow up, and they will release guys and you can run those over, I think, for extra score, and I don't think you can capture those and take those back to friendly territory. And so this game, you can see those running away. So this is one of the few games with kind of civilians or some guys running around, and you can see it's very easy to wander into that enemy firepower. The enemy won't be able to fire on its own base, so you can use that at your advantage. If you find the major enemy bunker, sometimes that will contain an icon. You can see it contains an Atari icon. So on this first map there are 4 enemy bases which contain 4 enemy major bunkers, and those are spread out basically northeast, northwest, southeast and southwest. On the first map, I don't think it puts the token at random. I think it always puts it in the northeast corner. That's why I'm going to the northeast corner now. So as soon as you find the enemy bunker and you find the token in it, all you have to do is collect that token and return that back to your home base. And what that will do is it will clear the level, give you some bonus score. So I don't know if it's always in this corner. It would be wiser if it was at random, and then you'd have to seek and destroy all 4 of the enemy bases and find which one has the token in it. But every time I play this game, at least on the first level, if you can find the enemy major bunker, and it will look slightly different to all of the other bunkers on the map. If you can find that, I think that you get that token, that Atari token, and that's the end of the level. Controlling our tank is made much harder when we get stuck on scenery, and those enemy helicopters, of course, are incessant, and you can milk those enemy helicopters all you like. So we've made 399 score, which isn't much, but we've got through 1 life. And with this game, once the enemy's dead, it's dead, so you can actually go through a base and clear it section by section, gun by gun, and then blow everything up in there, and then move to the next one and get a massive score. And I think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't think you're supposed to just go to the exit and pick it up, but that's what I've done in this particular instance. So now I don't think we can go back to the medical department. We'll just have to go back to our home base, and that's this map clear. So we managed to, well, we had 1 tank destroyed. Unfortunately we ran over 1 guy, but we rescued 7 of them, and we destroyed 7 helicopters and 2 enemy guys. So we can now restart that game, pick another tank, or repick type of game. That basically means if you've got second player, you can repick that. And I don't know if this is the first map or the second map that we're on now at the moment. And well, just been blown upon a mine. That's very easy to do, and you can see enemy mines sprinkled all over our base. And I think there is a way to lay down mines by our own tank, and that will blow up our own tank if we're not careful. So you can see mines all over the place. And I'm not quite sure if this is the second map. I think it's the second map. So I'm not sure where the enemy bunker is on the second map, which contains the token. So what I'm going to do is just take a tour of this level and see if we can find something and see if we can track it down. So usually the wilderness area is pretty safe, and again you can clear a path through all of these areas with subsequent lives, so you can hack your way through the forest. And I've no idea where I'm going. I think I'm going back to the northeast at the moment, thinking that that might be an opportune thing, and that's our own base that you can see right there. So sometimes it's good to wade into the action and blow it up, and once the guns are dead, then that's it. Firepower, as far as I know, was released in the public domain, or at least shareware, and created by Reichard von Wolfschild, And so this game appeared on, I think, various cover magazine cover discs back in the day, or at least I think this is where I found it at some point. And there are only a few magazine reviews, but most of them gave it a high score, mostly for those noisy sound effects. Of all the readouts that you can see on the screen, one of them isn't our armour level, we'll just simply blow up and die. So we do have a fuel, we can go back and collect fuel, but that's virtually useless because you'll probably have died before you get back to any kind of fuel warning level. We've got our lives, which is pretty handy because it tells us how many lives we've got. And we've got enemies collected and friendlies friendlies collected there. We've got 0 friendlies at the moment. And basically our score. It doesn't tell us how vulnerable we are. We'll just get a number of hits, maybe 20 hits on target. And once those have penetrated our tank, then we'll simply blow up. Most of the fun is definitely in blowing things up and going around wrecking enemy bases, searching for that major bunker. It can be fun, and you'll have to explore this and definitely tentatively work your way around the level, because I can guarantee as soon as you rush into something, the enemy guns will start firing and it's going to be game over pretty quickly. This video was backed by Johnny Smoesau, and this has been recommended as well over the years by various people, and I didn't really play this much back in the day, but I did play one of these tank games and I definitely do remember it, and it's got fond memories by people who played this on the Amiga. Definitely in 2-player mode, split screen mode, which we shall see a tiny bit of later on. It definitely comes alive because you've got 2 players battling against each other, and sometimes they can avoid each other like cat and mouse, or simply try to blow each other's bases up in the shortest time possible. And so all of that can be tremendous fun, and you can see the enemy base. I think we've got a tiny base in the middle of it, and the enemies have got bases all the way around it, and maybe in the 2-player game friendly and the enemy bases are basically more spread out, so maybe you do actually get extra maps on a 2-player game. I've never actually tried it, and maybe this is available on Amiga Live, I'm not quite sure, and it should be because it's got a 2-player simultaneous mode option. Moment, I think we've got 1 spare life in the bank, but I can't seem to find any major bunkers, and that gives away the fact that I'm probably not going to find the token on this playthrough. It is entirely possible to wander around the enemy's base, and sometimes do not even fire upon us, and that means that we can destroy the enemy guns from the inside. That's definitely a tip to remember. If you can get in there, sometimes you can be alright. And I don't think we take damage at all from blowing up buildings and blowing up walls. Looks like I've decided to ignore the rest of that base, whatever it was, and looks like we're going back northeast again. Maybe we're going back to our home base, but it looks like that I couldn't find an enemy bunker down there, So it's great that the game memorises every single explosion that we ever do, or that the enemies do, so all of the damage will remain on the map. But you can see we're close to the edge there. If we're close to the edge of the map, it doesn't give us time to slow down if there is a mine upon it, and that means we'll collide into that mine at full speed. So you can see we're not in the centre of the screen, and that might depend on the speed that we're going at the moment. And so being all the way down there at the bottom of the map, it's slightly dodgy. Really, it should be in the middle of it to give us a good heads up, but we don't. We can collide straight into enemies and bullets, and I think that was by game design. You can see we're now at the bottom of the screen, so it gives us all that area that we need to fire upwards. So maybe this has got a peculiar game design to it. And blowing up stretches of places, it looks like we're going back to the enemy map again that we've blown up already. Going back to places that you've destroyed is actually quite fun. And so we're working our way south at the moment. As long as you can stay on the move, that should mean that the enemy helicopters don't get a fix on our location, and that means that we can avoid them. But sometimes, of course, staying on the move means we can collide into mines and get blown up. And our tank has been destroyed. Final score, and well, 436 according to that. So it doesn't give us a final score readout apart from that, but that's all we got in this game. So not very good. And so let's move on to the 2-player game, where I'll be playing, well, versus myself, unfortunately. And so we'll leave the mouse in port 1. Do you want instructions? Yes or no? You can even have instructions in the game. Let's select a round. Both players can select a different tank. So let's just use that, and we'll move on to those magazine scores. Amiga format gave this game the lowest score at 64%. Amiga user gave it 70. The Games Machine gave it 71. Generation 4 awarded this 71. I'm an Amiga gave this currently 74%, and Ace awarded this 80%. Ace said it sizzles along, but it does have annoying slowdowns when the action gets packed, and for some reason everything starts jerking along annoyingly. But apart from that, they gave it 80% as a fun public domain 2-player smash up game, and so the average score is 7 out of 10. Two-player mode, if one of the players stays home for too long, then they will get bombarded by enemy helicopters eventually. You can see the fuel going up and down. I can't see why we can't just fuel ourselves all the way up to the top, but there seems to be a big gap at the top where we can't refuel, so that's a little bit annoying. You can see we've got 14 mines that we can lay, and apparently the enemy or the other guy doesn't have any mines. So I'm not sure how you can even lay mines in this game. Maybe press one of the shift keys or the control keys. So that is possible. And so thank you for viewing this review, our 9K sub special Firepower. And I hope this has introduced a few more people to the game. It is fun, and if you like blowing up your friends and blowing up bases, this might be the game for you. So thanks a lot for watching this special, and we'll see you again on another one sometime soon. Thank you.